Welcome back. I'm your host, Ryan Lencl, and this is The Angle of Pursuit on ESPN 970, WFUN, live from the Media One studios on Jefferson Road, Ashtabula, Ohio. With us now is a very special guest, Mr. Joe Tait. Joe, how are you today?
Good, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. I'm very excited to get a chance to talk to you. I've been listening to you, of course, since I was a boy, first watching basketball, and I hope that you're sitting down and you're comfortable. I told my listeners that I was going to make you hang up on me. I probably had so many questions. So.
Oh, no, I've got plenty of time.
I want to jump right in. Of course, you've written the book, and you open the book and it says right away that you were hesitant to write one. What finally changed and made you decide to go ahead and do it?
Well, I think the fact that I talked with Terry Pluto and we decided that it would not be a good thing to write an autobiography, because if I had to do that, I wouldn't do it. But he said, well, we'll do it a biography form whereby you give me the information and comments as we go along, and I'll write the book. And that worked out real well.
Absolutely. The book starts off, and you talk about getting started in radio and the lengths that you were willing to go to work for free when you first started out at Monmouth. I just wanted to kind of tell people how far you went just to get started in the business.
Well, I just, if you're going to get into the broadcast business, and I am sure this applies to a lot of other businesses as well that I'm not familiar with, and that is when you start out, you take whatever you can get in and get your feet wet, and then, expand your horizons as you have the opportunity. And for me, my first job in radio was that of a janitor. And I got paid the minimum wage of $1 an hour. Then when the station owner said, how'd you like to be a sports announcer? And I said, well, yeah, that sounds okay. And he said, good. He said, you're going to do the morning sports or the afternoon sports, but I'm going to deduct one of those dollars I'm paying you because I figure you're learning on my station. So rather than $2 a day, I was getting $1 a day for two jobs. And obviously, a lot of people might say, boy, what an idiot. But you know what? It put me inside the station, put me on the air, and within 4 years, I think I'd done everything at that radio station with the exception of chief engineer. But I'd done all of the other things, and that gave me a great foundation for times to come after I got out of the Army.
Joe Tait is our special guest today. Do you have memories? Do you recall clearly the very first Cavs game that you did?
Oh, yeah, because it was an audition for the job. It was the San Diego Rockets against the Cavaliers at the old arena, and the tape of that play-by-play would be going to the owner of the team, and he would decide whether he liked it or not, and if he liked it, the job was mine. So obviously I remember it very distinctly.
I want to jump around a little bit. I have so many questions. What was the atmosphere like the night of the Miracle at Ridgefield?
Well, it was insane. We've never had anything like that in Cleveland since that time. Those people were totally involved in what was going on. I think a lot of it, Ryan, is due to the fact that back in those days, you could get the best seat in the house for $18. That's courtside, and get very good seats for $12. So a lot of people who can't go to the games anymore because of the price factor were there and able to make a great deal of noise. They were totally behind the ball club the way it came on during the course of the season. And, of course, with the addition of Nate Thurmond, who was a local product from Akron and Bowling Green, that made it even more intense. And, I'll never forget it because I know that in both locker rooms prior to the ball game, the teams had to hold the blackboards to the wall so that the coaches could write up the plays because the crowd was making so much noise. And that is, now they may have to hold the blackboards to the wall, but that's because they're cranking up so much noise in terms of music and fireworks and everything else that they can't keep a steady hand. But that is a long, long time ago.
You talk about, and with us again is Joe Tait. Joe's book, It's Been a Real Ball, is available all over Northeast Ohio bookstores and at Amazon.com. Joe, we had Scott Rabb on, and he's a big Cleveland sports historian, and he talked about how people in Cleveland have sort of forgotten that this was a town that was a winner, and it's earned this reputation now as a town where we don't even remember what it's like to be competitive because we haven't had that type of success. But you've obviously seen that through the years. Do you agree that people here have forgotten how proud this city once was athletically?
I think one of the things is people want instant gratification. They're not willing to, wait around. They want it now. They want a championship today. And because of it, they begin to think, well, this is a cursed town or a loser's town. And nothing is further from the truth, because I've seen the Cavaliers play for the World Championship. And, the Indians came within a ground ball of winning the World Series. The Browns have had some good years and some not so good years, but it's just a matter of time, and all three of those teams will be back playing for championships again. I really believe that.
What was the high point of your entire Cavs broadcasting career?
Oh, well, in terms of a single game, it would have to be the 4-overtime win over the Los Angeles Lakers back in 1980, when at the end of the fourth overtime we had Bill Willoughby, who was one of the very first high school kids to jump directly to the pros. He was playing for the Cavaliers and was guarding Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and the Cavaliers still managed to win the ball game 154-153.
Wow. Joe Tait is our guest. He obviously has a new book out. It's Been a Real Ball. He wrote with Terry Pluto. For more information on the book, too, you can visit joetaitbook.com. How about your lowest point?
Oh, I guess in baseball it would be the beer night riot, which was, just an absolute travesty. And in basketball, I guess the arrival of Ted Stepien might be the worst thing that I had to go through in basketball, although I only endured that for 1 year, and then I left town and went to the New Jersey Nets for a year and the Chicago Bulls for a year before coming back when Gordon Gunn bought the Cavaliers.
What's your feeling about the current state of the NBA with regard to these super teams that are forming?
Well, if they continue to do that, they'll destroy the league because you're going to end up with 4 or 5 teams with all the talent, and everybody else is. I think somebody told me that Dan Gilbert wrote a memo or something to the effect that the rest of the league would be like the Washington Generals playing against the Harlem Globetrotters. And if you destroy the balance, but the trouble is that a lot of the players, they don't want to play in Cleveland or in Oklahoma City or Atlanta, they want to play in New York, in Los Angeles, maybe in Chicago. And because of it, the players try to group together, and they create, perhaps, if given their head, a super team. You get about 4 or 5 of those and see how long the league lasts. It won't last very long.
Absolutely.